Boop. All right, my dear. So welcome. Tonight will be a restorative class. And normally in the studio, I would set the mood for you. The lights would be down low. We'd have our incense going. Maybe you would have some hot tea. Maybe there would be some sort of aroma throughout the room. I'm going to invite you to find your restorative space. Make it as lovely, as supportive and comforting as you wish. Maybe it's just a little bit of lotion on your hands. Maybe it's a cup of your favorite tea or warming or cooling beverage. Yeah. Maybe you turn the lights down low, and if you can't turn the lights down low, maybe you bring in an eye mask and use that for your postures. Just take a moment to find what's going to serve you, a comfy blanket, maybe a couple pillows if you have them, a bolster if you have it. No need to go and get one though if you don't. If you have blocks or even just a firm pillow, we have that today. We're probably not going to use our straps, so you don't have to worry. And then I have a chair here, and I'm going to bring that in. If you have one, even if it's like kind of a sofa chair, you could possibly use that, especially for how we'll take our ending posture for restorative.
No, it's storage. All right, I'm going to run and get a chair.
You can get a chair. There we go. Very nice. Comfy, cozy, ready to settle into our restorative class. Find your easy seat, whatever that looks like for you. It might be putting those knees up on comfy, cozy pillows or blocks. Maybe you take your blanket and roll it up underneath your bottom, underneath your sit bone, or pillows underneath the knees. Maybe if you have your chair, you bring your back to that edge of the chair just for some additional support here. And then I always find that it's very difficult to go from that 100 miles an hour all the way down to stillness. So let's start with some gentle movement just to get us ready. So we'll just circle through those shoulders. And then the opposite way. You can take this any way that feels right for you, as quick or as slow. Good, and just kind of rotate any way that feels good in your shoulders here. You've been carrying a lot of tension through your day. Maybe check in with the jaw. Maybe you slow the shoulders down and just kind of move the jaw around. Good, and then we'll just kind of rotate a little bit through the neck here. Very gentle. Just taking what you need from this, letting tension just kind of filter out through the jaw. And everything we do tonight is going to be an invitation to kind of slow down, to notice. And then if that feels good, maybe you transition to taking the fingers all the way up to the webbing, placing them behind the head, taking a nice big inhale. Let the head just kind of fall into the hands here. And then maybe you exhale, bring the chin to the chest, or maybe you curl all the way down, whatever feels right for you in your body. Beautiful. And when you're ready to come into stillness, you can join me here. We can place the palms face down for a little bit of grounding. Just kind of bringing everything into this present moment. And I'll invite you to start to notice the body here. And of course, if sitting on the ground doesn't feel as comfortable and easeful, you can come up to your chair at any time. Just starting to notice the earth underneath you. Starting to allow the hips to soften into the earth. Maybe the whole lower body starts to soften. Maybe the shoulders start to soften away from the ears. Maybe the jaw starts to relax. Maybe you start to find the eyes begin to soften or gently close. You can always bring in that eye mask if that suits you. Just starting to withdraw the senses back into the body. Restorative yoga is all about slowing down. It's coming into this present moment and just finding this sense of allowing. We won't take very many postures tonight. We'll still work through the hips a little bit, and we're still working with our kleshas. So as we're here in this space of noticing, just bring the idea of the kleshas back in. Kleshas are habits that create unnecessary suffering, and for tonight's class, we'll focus on Raga. In yoga, it is the habit of gripping, trying to hold on, achieve, or control. Tonight, our restorative practice gently loosens that habit by removing any effort entirely. So just let that land in the system, in the body. Removing effort entirely. Maybe we start to remove the effort into the hips, into the lower body. I know we're still staying upright for right this moment, but maybe we remove the effort even further still into the shoulders and the arms and the wrists and the hands. Maybe we start to remove the effort in the jaw. Maybe the tongue falls from the roof of the mouth, widens in the lower palate. Continuing to remove effort from the temples, the forehead. And then maybe we'll start to remove the effort from the breath. Just starting to notice the breath here. The gentle rise and fall. And as we're here noticing, removing effort, allowing, if anything doesn't feel right, let's lean into your sovereignty here. You can always move, shift, adjust. There's no wrong answer. And as we're here in this space of withdrawing the senses, noticing and allowing, I'll invite you to take a pranayama breath to stimulate the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve runs from your belly all the way through your throat. And when we stimulate that, we help the nervous system relax. So this pranayama breath is a hum breath. And it's a low hum breath. So we can try one together and just see how it feels in the body. We'll take a nice big inhale to exhale to begin. And then we'll inhale to our hum. Take a moment just to notice how that felt in your body. And let's try to take that hum just a tad deeper. This sense of ease as we're humming through the back of the throat. We'll take 3 more hums at your own pace. No need to rush. Take a nice big inhale. We'll begin our hum breath. And at the end of that third humming breath, you can return to your typical breathing. Notice how your body feels just from that simple pranayama, that little bit of vibration. And know that that's available to you at any time, anywhere you need a bit of relaxation, a bit of nervous system regulation. And as we're here, removing effort entirely, let's just bring the hands right on top of the heart center. A little bit of grounding, warmth right in the center of the chest. Maybe you even let the chin start to tilt towards the chest here. And today, our intention will be a deep reset, some nervous system support, and of course, letting go of effort. Now, you might want to bring in an intention that is meaningful to you, something you're working on today. You may also feel called to our journal prompt question and use that as your drizdi, your internal focal point as you move through your practice. What would it feel like to stop trying just for now? Allow the question to land vibrationally. No need to rush to answer it at all. When you're ready, we're going to move so slowly, so lovingly, so with ease. We'll slowly take the hands away, and we're going to find ourselves laying all the way down onto our belly on the mat. You may find that you'd like to bring in a blanket here, especially if you're a little chilly. You may even find that you'd like to bring your pillow or your bolster down underneath your head or chest. I have 2 pillows, so I'm going to make use of both of these today. And then if your hip bones are a little bit pointy when you kind of come down into the mat, you may decide to place a blanket lengthwise across that mat, just for some support there. So come down into any position that feels good in your body. And let's just take a moment to kind of come into this position. Maybe you just shimmy the legs from side to side here, just allowing gravity to do some of the work. Maybe the head starts to sink into the support of your pillow, or maybe you stack the palms one on top of each other and let the temple come to the palms. And from here, you may decide you want to take the feet just a tad wider as you shimmy out those hips. And then when it feels right, we're going to drop in to this frog-like posture. You can use your pillow, bolster, blocks. I'm going to show you a couple variations here. You may decide to get started that it would feel better in the body to bend that left knee. It's going to come about up to the hip here and allow maybe that shin to go long behind you. Maybe that feels really nice. If you want to get a little bit further into a tad more sensation, maybe a bit more recovery, you could take a pillow underneath that thigh. And what I like to do is bring it in pretty close to the hip crease here. If you don't have a pillow, you can bring in a block on any level that feels supportive, but let's keep the block lengthwise to our thigh. And maybe this is the right height for you, and you want to drape the blanket over that block for a bit more comfy, cozy groundedness. Start to settle in here. Know that we're not frozen in this posture. If you need to move, adjust, find what feels like ease to you, I invite you to do that. Your no's are celebrated here. Another option for the head is maybe you build up your props, your blocks in front of you, and take your forehead to the props. I always like to talk a little bit as we're getting started in these restorative postures before I quiet and let your nervous system really wind down. And I like to talk to you a little bit about just allowing, the sense of allowing. We may have been running through our week, our month, our year. And as we come to these restorative postures, invitation to stop trying, to remove all effort. You may notice the thoughts bubble up, and that's okay. They'll flit like a bird or a butterfly from flower to flower. It's natural, it's normal. Just notice where the thoughts go. Allow yourself to be the observer. Maybe you return to that deep humming breath as you're here, stimulating the vagus nerve, relaxing even deeper, finding even more surrender. There's no wrong way to do this. You are safe here. This is your time to restore, to allow the nervous system to soften. I'm here with you every step of the way. I invite you to just drop in now. Feel what's here for you. When you're ready, start to soften the breath, return to it. As we move through our gentle transitions in this restorative class, we move so gently, almost like there's no effort whatsoever. For our next posture, keeping the eyes soft closed or that eye mask over the eyes, maybe you just slowly take that left leg long. If it would feel nice to kind of do a little reset here, you can shimmy those hips, or maybe you stay in stillness, just noticing the body. And then when you're ready, slowly, gently, calmly, mindfully, we'll take that prop over to the other side. And eventually finding that right knee up and over our prop if we're using one today. Find what feels like ease here. It might be that you tuck that pillow or prop a little closer to the pelvis to support the upper thigh. You may decide that you'd like to switch temples if one temple was down. And then we'll start to remove all effort. And drop in. And to start, notice the breath again. Keeping the eyes closed and soft. Maybe you just give some gentle movements to your fingers or wiggle through the wrists and ankles, just preparing the body for some movement, for a gentle transition. And then when it feels right, allowing so much ease and a lack of effort, you can bring that right leg to meet the left. Maybe you just rock out the hips here for a little bit of a transition. Noticing how your body feels after coming into stillness here, if that serves you. And then, like you're moving through molasses, allowing the body to be soft, maybe the eyes stay soft. You start to slowly come up onto your tabletop here. Maybe you walk the legs, the knees towards the hands, and then come all the way down for a seat. Feel yourself supported. Just for a moment, we're just going to notice ourselves upright. Find that sense of ease once again. Just notice what it would feel like to stop trying just for now. And then when you're ready, maybe you place your blanket underneath your hips. I have a very fluffy blanket. You could also come up onto your pillow. Or your bolster, if that feels right for you. We're going to take the legs out long. We have lots of options for this next posture. You may decide that you want to stack those blocks in front of you and find that gentle forward fold. You may have a bolster that you plop right on top of those legs, letting everything soften, the knees, the feet, find that forward fold. Maybe you even stack the hands, something like this. Or if you have your chair, maybe we bring that chair in. Find that spot that feels really good for where the head will come down. Maybe it meets the chair. I have a cushion on my chair. Maybe you add a pillow to the chair or a block if that feels better in your body. And wherever you are, we are softening the shoulders away from the ears. We're finding the sense of allowing again, and maybe we just start to fold forward, letting the knees be gentle here. Letting the forehead make contact with whatever feels right. And if this is too much pressure on that low back, you can come all the way down to the floor. And we can take a mini shavasana nice and propped with our blankets, with our blocks underneath our thighs or the bolster underneath our knees. We're doing what feels right in our body here. Find your sovereignty. If this posture isn't working for you, you can adjust. You can move out of it.
find your ease. Noticing the breath. Maybe you hum here. Noticing a sense of allowing. into the breath. Maybe you wiggle fingers and toes, just looking for a bit of movement, a bit of transition here. When it feels right, we move so slowly with the breath. Maybe you press the fingertips into the earth, or maybe they come to your thighs or your chair. And you just take a nice big inhale, keeping the eyes soft, closed, whatever feels right for you. And come all the way up. And keep holding on to that chair, or maybe the fingertips take the floor for some grounding, stabilization. And just notice how it feels to be in your body at this moment. And for our next and final posture, a little bit of a dealer's choice, whatever feels right in your body. You may come into a traditional shavasana. Maybe you support the knees with blocks, bolster, pillows. Maybe you snuggle up in your blanket or lay it across your lap. Maybe a pillow comes behind the head, or perhaps you take the chair, just kind of push it a little bit away from you. Maybe you scoot yourself off of your prop here, moving nice and slow. And eventually our knees are going to bend and our legs are going to come up onto this chair, if that feels right in our body. For a little bit of some opening through the chest, you may choose to bring a block on its highest level. Maybe you bring another block on its lowest level to make an L shape here. Maybe you bring a pillow over the top. This can even come down a little bit lower too. You may decide that you'd like it a little bit lower. For this, I'm going to use my blanket because it's very, very fluffy. I'm just going to place it right on top of my props. You may decide you want to bring a pillow for your head. Your bolster can also go long on this as well. I'm going to take the feet nice and wide and just slowly start to come down. You may decide you need to shimmy up just a smidge. If you have the availability, you may decide that you want a block or a bolster underneath the arms. We're just going to bring the chair in a little bit. Maybe the back of the calves are going to come on top of that chair. If anything is pinching in that low back, if this doesn't feel supported and easeful through the chest or the cervical spine, let's drop it down a bit further. You can take the legs out long. Maybe you place a bolster underneath the knees. You can come all the way off of your props. Maybe you even come to bring the feet up the wall if that feels more restorative. Take your time finding ease here. Know that you do not have to stay here the entire time. If this starts to feel less like ease, we can move into something more gentle, more loving. Find your sovereignty.
And when it feels right, you'll know when. Allow yourself to stop trying. Allow the body to come into the earth. Allow it to receive you, to rise up to meet you. And we find ourselves as the observer once more. And when it's time, I'll call you out gently.
Beginning to return to the breath. Maybe start to just gently wiggle through the fingers and the toes. Rocking through your wrists and ankles. Maybe you rock the head mindful of your props, from left to right. Bringing some gentle movement back into the body. Mindful of your props if your feet are up on the chair here. Maybe reach the arms over me. Stretch like you're waking from your nap. Very slowly, very mindfully, we'll start to make our way off of our prop. Maybe we just push that chair towards the end of our mat. And then if you're up onto your bolster, that might feel a little bit high to come off of. I like to hold on to my mat here and just slowly pull myself up. You can, of course, if you're all the way down onto the floor in your Shavasana, with the back flat on the floor, you may decide to come through fetal position. And of course, finding any easeful posture here, just to transition. And back into the body, into this moment. And just taking a moment here to feel the earth beneath you. Mother Earth rising up to meet you, supporting you. Father Sky above, protecting you. Feeling safe and secure here. And just take a moment, wherever you are, whatever position you're in, just to reflect on our intention question today. You may choose to journal on this question at the end of class if you'd like. What would it feel like to stop trying just for now? Let it land vibrationally. No need to rush to answer anything. And keeping the eyes soft or closed here, we'll bring hands into Anjali Mudra. So fingers are spread wide, thumbs come to the center of the chest. Maybe they even press up just a bit. And we'll start to close this class with a bit of gratitude. Gratitude for yourself for showing up to your mat today. Gratitude for yourself for listening to your sovereignty, for trusting yourself, for finding ease. Gratitude for someone who supported you along that journey today. Gratitude for this practice, for its accessibility, its availability. And gratitude for all the beauty that surrounds us each and every day. And I have so much gratitude for my community, for all of you. Thank you so much for being here, for trusting me to guide you through your practice. I am truly humbled and truly honored. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you feel better
in your mind, in your body, in your spirit. Om Shanti, Om Peace, and we bow. Thank you.